I always try to be as fair as I can when covering stories, but something about the reaction to Omicron just doesn't make sense. The news doesn't seem to be that bad, but the media is reacting like it's time to freak out.
Help me, Jesus! Help me, Jewish God! Help me, Allah! Ah!
The Netherlands is getting ready to lock down again. The UK is preparing to do a circuit breaker lockdown, whatever the hell that means, sometime around Christmas. The world seems to be changing very quickly. Are you getting deja vu like I am? But just how deadly is this new variant? It was first reported in South Africa. And why is it prompting new lockdowns after all this time? Let's search for Omicron deaths and see what we find. Until recently, there was absolutely nothing. But then something happened. The UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson said the death toll had skyrocketed to 1.
Sadly, at least one patient has now been confirmed to have died with Omicron.
Even Snopes confirmed the zero deaths claim. After Boris Johnson's remark, though, they updated the claim to a false rating, citing that single death. That one death attributed to Omicron, even though the variant's likely been on the move for months, is the case of a British guy who lived alone. Because he's the only person so far, the press has reported basically his entire backstory. And that backstory is pretty weird. You see, the stepson of the man who reportedly died of Omicron called into a radio station. He said his stepdad was a recluse and that he didn't even interact with anybody. So how in the hell did this guy end up being the first person who died of Omicron?
Well, he was healthy. He was a recluse, to be honest with you. He never went out. He had his shopping brought to him. The only place he went to was the bin outside the block he lived in and a post box.
Right.
And cleanliness he was one of the cleanest guys I ever knew, you know.
One thing this man's son mentioned that the British Prime Minister neglected to mention was that he was completely unvaccinated. Isn't that kind of important?
If he didn't go out, had he had his vaccinations?
No vaccinations, and this is the important thing. He weren't vaccinated at all.
So many questions. This brings up a lot of other questions. In fact, some experts have suggested the man who was in his 70s may have died from another cause, and then he just so happened to also test positive for this Omicron. So even if this is the first official death, it's only one. It's just one person. Why aren't there loads of them? Based on current numbers, this has been spreading around for months and months. And I don't want to hear this whole wait 2 weeks nonsense. We're there already. Where are the numbers? Is it possible that this is so mild that the deaths will be much lower than in previous waves? Well, let's look at South Africa, where this was first noticed, and let's see what the deaths by day look like. It's not very alarming, but maybe it's going to be worse in Europe or America or something. Not if the situation here in Orange County, Florida, is any indication of where we're going to go. Check this out. Wastewater samples in Orange County, Florida are almost 100% Omicron, right? This could be alarming if it were leading to hospitalizations, but it seems almost all the hospitalizations are from Delta. And if it's at 100% of the samples of wastewater, Omicron's been in Orange County, Florida for long enough to spike those hospitalization numbers. But it hasn't. Back to the freak out.
We're now facing an emergency.
Just as we thought we had turned a corner.
Probably the most significant threat we've had since the start of the pandemic.
I'm assuming there will be a massive fifth wave. I'm in close communication with colleagues in England, both in politics and in science. We've coordinated with each other, and these colleagues say that what they are seeing there is worse than anything they've seen before during the pandemic.
We are going to begin with the coronavirus and the global response concerning a new variant of that virus. The Omicron strain has been confirmed in at least 14 countries. since it was announced, prompting new fears of yet another COVID wave.
Officials here are now warning that we should expect to see those numbers dramatically increase in the coming days and weeks that lie ahead. But guys, by how much and how severe, that we still don't know. This is such a new variant, and officials are trying to keep up with science that's unfolding in real time.
The Omicron variant is continuing to rip through the UK population.
The emergence of Omicron
variant
has struck a cruel blow.
Have they all lost their minds? We have 10 people in the hospital. One person dead who may or may not have died from Omicron. And we're heading back into the Stone Age? For what? Denmark is getting ready to lock people back down to close businesses once again. In the Netherlands, people are headed for a post-Christmas lockdown of virtually everything. The UK is considering this circuit breaker lockdown. The PM says he's not going to do it, but they're hinting that they may. Scandinavian countries, European countries, even some places in the United States are thinking about reimposing restrictions on people. The media coverage is completely out of line with the actual risk, according to what we know so far. All this, and only one person we can point to maybe died from this shiny new thing that we have. At some point, you have to ask yourself, what in the hell is going on here? Have we lost it? Let me know what you think. React, follow, and subscribe for more videos just like this. Thanks for watching. I look forward to your comments. We'll talk to you again real soon.